I tell you, one of the worst things about having a roguelike or having actually speakers in your motorcycle is that you're getting into, singing and having a great time. And next thing you know, you remember that you got a motor vlog and you just don't want to. I was enjoying that song. But here's the thing, I wanted to talk about this, and you guys saw this thing. This guy came out of nowhere. But I wanted to talk about this real quick because I kind of find it silly. Truly silly. Look how much debris is here in the road. But anyway, I wanted to say a couple things about it because, obviously I ride road glide. And as I was looking for a bagger, obviously you have the choices of a street glide, you have the choices of an electric glide, and all that. And there is a lot of pros and cons, really a lot of pros and cons when it comes to those kind of motorcycles, right? And by the way, I'm gonna go and find a little spot that I found the other day when I was recording a video, and I thought it was a really cool spot to park the motorcycle. Maybe I'll find it again, maybe I don't. But again, as I was looking at a motorcycle and all that, there is going to be a lot of things that you're going to hear people talking about. There's going to be a lot of things that is potentially going to, in my opinion, affect your decision if you want to get a road glide or a street glide, right? But there's one thing that is going to make primarily the choice for you. Really is going to be one thing. Let's go, buddy. So here's the thing. For me, the road glide, a couple things that I like so far, right? And some of the things that you guys are going to notice is that obviously the frame is not, whoa, nice little bump. Obviously the fairing is not mounted to the frame and not to the handlebar. That's going to make the bike feel a lot different. It's kind of like a crush rocket. If you're used to riding sport bikes and things like that, you kind of have the same feeling on this motorcycle. If you look at a street glide or an electric glide, all that fairing is going to be, attached to your bars, right? Is it going to be a big deal? I don't necessarily think so. I rode I think it was an electric glide or maybe a street glide one time. And, again, I don't have a lot of experience, but it was okay. I didn't remember being like, it's going to be a big deal or not, right? But again, you know what? It's kind of like the biggest thing, right? It's mounted to the frame. You're not going to feel a lot of the weight. So when you go on the highway, I think this bike is better for the highway. And this is the spot that I was talking about. So we're going to kind of park it here. And we're kind of going to take a look at this and keep talking about it. I found this spot here because I was doing a video. And it is under 24-hour surveillance. Oh, there you go. Well, good. So let's kind of go here. And let's park right here. And let's talk about this. So again, this is going to be my 2009 Road Glide right here. It has about 30,000 miles. And I'm going to tell you, I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. I have done absolutely nothing to this bike, which was my intent. My intent was to buy it and ride it, and that's what I've been doing. As you can see, it came with bars already installed, which to me was fantastic. I hate the fact that they are 1 inch. I wish it would have been bigger bars so the cables would have been in the inside, but it is what it is. It has some pipes that are not super loud or anything like that, but they are loud enough. I really don't want to make any crazy noise or anything like that. I just wanted to enjoy myself and be alright. I got the Road King Cholo, which if you haven't subscribed so you can see that bike. Maybe this silly or whatever, but believe it or not, one of the things that I like the most is this intake right here that says 96 cubic inch. And as you can see, to me, it's kind of old school. To me, it looks, I don't know, it gives me like an old school vibe, which I like that very, very much. Again, I wish it would have had standard bags, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this bike. I love this bike. I got it for a really good price, and I bought it in the same place where I bought the Road King. And I'm going to tell you, my intent with this bike is just to ride. And when it gets too many miles, it's just to trade it in and get another one. That's my intent with this bike. My intent is not to do anything to this bike. Nothing at all. Unless it's going to be something beneficial to me that is going to help me ride better, maybe, but really not anything at all. So like I said, one of the biggest things is going to be this fairing. It's going to be attached to the frame, which to me, I like that. And like I said, it's probably better for highway speed because the wing is hitting this fairing and it's not being translated to your arms. It's not being translated to your bars. If you look at something like the street glide or obviously the electric glide, you're going to have all that transfer going into the bars, and it's going to be something that you're probably going to have to deal with it. I don't think it's a big deal. People travel in those bikes all the time, and really, I don't think it's a big deal at all. But one thing that I would tell you about the road glide compared to the street glide is that if you're a tall man, wow, a tall lady, you get a lot of space. I'm going to tell you, for the moment that you sit over here to there, it feels like you have a ton of space, right? So again, if you're a bigger dude, it's probably going to be better. You're not going to feel cramped or anything. You're going to feel like a lot of space. In fact, the first time I got in this bike and I got into it, I was a little bit intimidated. I was like, oh man, it's just so much space. I felt like it was a lot far away. And by the way, if you want to operate the radio and all that, it feels like a lot of times you kind of have to reach to be able to touch the radio. Obviously, some of the bike have controllers and things like that, and you're going to find yourself using that because, like I say, the space is going to be a lot. But here's the thing, I said that I find it kind of silly sometimes when people argue about this because the biggest reason why people get a street glide or get a road glide is one reason at all, and it's going to be this right here. You see this front? So this is what they call the shark nose, and then obviously the street glide, they call it, I believe, the bad wing. And again, this is what it is right here. So essentially, it's going to be your personal taste. That's why I'm laughing. Because a lot of times, guys trying to make the decision, but ultimately, people make the decision based on the look and based on how they look and if they like the bike. I mean, obviously, like I said, the fairing here is great. I got all these cubby holes and all that, and it's fantastic. But me personally, I picked that bike, or I picked this bike because of that right there. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's pretty. And you know what? There's going to be guys here in the comments that are going to tell you, no, it's ugly and it looks really bad, and I will never ride a road glide. But again, it goes back to your personal taste. So like I said, a lot of debates, a lot of arguments, a lot of oh, this versus that, or that versus this. But ultimately, people pick this bike based on the look, and that's kind of why I find it kind of silly. All the arguments, all the debates, and all that. But ultimately, whoever picked the bike, if they pick a street glide, or maybe they pick an electric glide, or maybe they pick, a road glide, they did it based on the look, based on how they liked it, or they didn't like it, based on the style that they were going to. I'm going to tell you, whatever bike you get, you're going to be happy. These bikers are great. I love everything about it. I love the speakers. I love the bags, the ability to put things in your bags, the ability to listen to music, the ability to, transport, the suspension, how this bike feels compared to other bikes out there. I mean, these bikes are meant to crush miles, and they do a really fantastic job. So if you're trying to pick a bike, I got to tell you guys, hopefully you find the right bike for you. Obviously, I hope that you get a bike that you enjoy, and you're going to ride all over wherever you live. So I appreciate you guys watching. And as always, God is in control.